Super Bowl XXXIII, Miami, the most expensive airtime on the planet. Just for feet, bet the modern equivalent of $14 million to crush Foot Locker and rule the industry. Instead, they aired a catastrophic film for their own brand. They were called neo-colonialists, destroyed the company in months. But that is the lie. The commercial didn't kill the business, because while the world was screaming about the ad, the executives were committing one of the largest accounting frauds in retail history. Harold Ruttenberg was not born with a silver spoon. He was an immigrant from South Africa with only $30,000. But in Alabama, he built a massive retail empire. Just for Feet was not just a simple shoe store to shop. It was effectively a giant theme park for sneakers. Imagine full basketball courts inside the shoe shop, video walls blasting rock music, and a snack bar. It was truly the Disney World of the American retail scene. By 1998, they had 140 superstores in 25 states. Sales hit a staggering $775 million that year. They were the second largest athletic retailer in the US, but being the king of the South was not enough for him. Harold wanted to be a massive national household name. He desperately wanted the prestige of the major leagues. So he decided to bet the entire company, just to achieve it. To go national, he needed that special New York City magic. He hired Saatchi & Saatchi, the corporate titans of ads. He thought he was buying expertise, but bought a funeral. The cost to join the big leagues was simply astronomical. In today's money, the agency fee alone was nearly $6 million, plus another $3.5 million just for the 30-second airtime, and $4 million more on a media blitz to ensure viewership. He went completely all in on this single 30-second spot. The agency pitched a concept they called the Kenya spot, a paramilitary Humvee hunting a lone runner in the desert. Harold saw the storyboards and was completely horrified. He told them he hated it and begged for a funny dog ad. But the experts in the $3,000 suits pushed. They said, "Trust us because this is going to be high art." They bullied the shoe salesman, saying he did not know ads. Intimidated by their status, Harold ignored his own gut. He signed the check against his will and better judgment. He handed full creative control to the smart guys in NYC, and unknowingly signed his company's utter death warrant. And the stage was finally set for Super Bowl XXXIII, January 31st, 1999. 127 million people were watching live. It was the fourth quarter when the advertisement aired. A white paramilitary team in a Humvee hunts a lone man. They offer him water that is laced with a knockout drug. He collapses unconscious into the hot desert sand below. While he is out, they force sneakers onto his bare feet. He wakes up screaming in terror, trying to kick them off. The runner is screaming as he tries to remove the shoes. A deep silence fell over living rooms across the nation. But the backlash was instantaneous and absolutely nuclear. The New York Times called it appallingly insensitive. AdAge called the spot neo-colonialist and likely racist. Others renamed the brand from Just for Feet to racists. The family-friendly brand image was destroyed instantly. But Harold was not going to go down quietly without war. He did not just apologize to the public, he attacked back. He sued Saatchi & Saatchi for $10 million total. The charge? Something called advertising malpractice. It was a legal Hail Mary pass designed to save his face. He claimed they had a fiduciary duty to protect the brand. He argued they bullied him into airing the disaster ad. They said it would be a hit, he argued in the complaint. Instead, they completely torched his company reputation. The entire advertising world panicked at the lawsuit. If bad creative ideas are illegal, then who is safe now? Agencies were terrified of the legal precedent it set. But the lawsuit was just a distraction from the truth. It was a smokescreen for the real fire burning inside. Because the company was already dying before the game. The Super Bowl ad just turned the lights on in the room. The financial collapse that followed was simply brutal. The stock fell from $37 to $1.20. Who wants to buy shoes from a store called Just for Racists? Sales froze, and the cash stopped flowing immediately. They had $200 million in debt, piling up on the books. Then came the missed interest payment of $12 million. That triggered the default, and the banks ran for cover. But the auditors found something much worse inside. The books were cooked, and it was pure corporate fraud. Earnings were overstated by $8 million total. The Super Bowl was not a victory lap for the company. It was a desperate Hail Mary to cover up the massive rot. They needed a massive miracle to hide the internal issues. Instead, they got a spotlight directly on the crime. Executives started pleading guilty to the fraud charges. Harold's son went to federal prison for 20 months. The malpractice lawsuit was quietly dropped later on. You can't sue for a bad ad if you are a corporate fraud. The entire retail empire crumbled in just a few months. In November 1999, they filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Less than a year later, the company was completely gone. It was liquidated and sold for scraps to competitors. The category killer of the South was officially dead. But what about the advertising agency Saatchi & Saatchi? They are still here today and remain a global titan. They lost the account, but kept the lights on elsewhere. That is the brutal truth of the advertising business. Agencies have diversified risk across many clients. Clients have concentrated risk in their own brand name. Saatchi had 50 other clients to pay the bills with. Harold only had one single reputation: to lose forever. He outsourced his intuition to the expensive experts, but he was hiding his dirt under the corporate mat. Corporate greed was the true architect of the fall. The ad was just the toxic cherry on top of the rot.